Live from Washington, D.C., Sekulow Live. Phone lines are open for your questions right now. And now, Chief Counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice, Sekulow.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast. A special broadcast indeed. We're going to be talking about a couple of new cases and a couple of wins. And here is a copy of the lawsuit. I'm showing it to our friends that are watching on our television. I'm also showing it to our friends on Facebook and Periscope. This is about a 130-page complaint filed by Michael Newdow in a case involving the challenge to our national motto, "In God We Trust." Now, this lawsuit has been filed. The ACLJ is going to file a response. Michael Newdow's been on this program many times. He's a friend of mine. We disagree on church-state issues, but we personally get along. We disagree with his 130 pages, including his 130 pages that says that the words are problematic because they are extremely offensive, bigotry, persecution, that atheists are forced to proselytize, and they even compared it in the complaint to Islamic terrorism. So obviously a fundamental disagreement. But this is the latest challenge on our national motto. Now, at the same time we're fighting on our national motto, the issue of the designations of Christians and the genocide issue in the Middle East is front and center right now. Than, what's the latest?
Well, the deadline for the administration to make a determination, according to Congress, Jay, is March 17th. Our listeners know that a couple of weeks ago, the House Foreign Affairs Committee passed that resolution calling it genocide. Jay, we are working behind the scenes aggressively today. I believe that there will be an announcement tonight that there will be a vote on the floor of the House next week. We're working very hard on that. It's not a done deal, but that's what we're asking for, a vote on the floor of the House next week.
If the genocide resolution passes the floor of the House and then goes to the Senate, would it pass in the Senate?
I think it would, but even if it didn't, Jay, it would be a determination and a lot of political pressure on the White House because ultimately the president has to make this determination. It would be a push in that direction.
We are filing a brief in this case, and you can be part of it. You could actually sign on to the brief. So you just go to aclj.org or call us at 1-877-989-2255. You tell the operator, I want to stand with Jay as we defend the national motto, "In God We Trust." aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255. And don't forget our matching challenge. We're getting close, folks, to getting near our goal for the week. We're not there yet. We're a little bit behind, about 30,000 behind. aclj.org or 877-989-2255. Back with your calls and comments in just a moment.
It is happening again. Once again, atheists are targeting our national motto, "In God We Trust." This time, though, they're going after the U.S. Treasury and have gone to federal court to remove our national motto from U.S. currency. We have defeated these flawed lawsuits targeting our national motto in the past, and now we're mobilizing to do it again. You can stand with the ACLJ and add your name to our committee to defend our national motto. We couldn't defend our national motto without your support, so sign on to our committee now and consider supporting the ACLJ during our matching challenge. Right now, every gift is doubled. $20 becomes $40. A $100 gift becomes $200. Stand with the ACLJ today. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255 or online aclj.org.
We've got a brand new lawsuit we're talking about. We're taking a day off of politics here, and we're talking about our national motto, "In God We Trust." So Michael Newdow, who's a smart guy, look, he's a medical doctor and a lawyer, and he's been on this broadcast many times. We're friends. We disagree on this vehemently, and hopefully he'll call in the next day or so as we talk more about this.
He listens from time to time.
He does.
So he's just called in before. So,
yeah.
Michael, if you're listening, give us a call.
Yeah. So this one, he's saying that this was, violating church-state separation, violates the Religious Freedom Restoration Act as national motto. It's only been around forever, and since 1954 anyways. And he's also arguing that it would cause extreme offense, bigotry, and persecution. So I think it's absurd. I think the court's going to find the same thing, but it's a free country. They get to bring lawsuits, and that's what they've done. Let's go ahead, Logan, and we got comments coming in and probably have phone calls, a lot of phone calls as well. Let's go to it.
All right, let's go. Patrick calling from Birmingham, Alabama, a place I've spent a lot of time in. Patrick, you're on the air.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Jay. How are you doing today?
Good, sir.
Well, I wanted to comment on the In God We Trust.
Yep.
For one, why did America become to where just a few minority is offended by something that everything has to change?
Well, it's called, I call it just like the eggshell, they call it the eggshell plaintiff that's offended by anything. But, in the United States of America, part of the freedom is, you're going to hear things you disagree with. You could say, I don't like it, but you shouldn't be able to censor it, which is what they're saying. Go ahead.
Because the majority does believe in the one true God. But also, everybody, whether it's the one true God or not, has a God, whether it's money or their job or their cars.
Well, the Supreme Court has said that secular humanism is a form of religion. That's what the Supreme Court has said. And then we've had these challenges before, and what Patrick's talking about, we had it at the Capitol Center.
Yeah, we sure did. When the Capitol Visitor Center was built, Jay, they built it without the national motto inscribed. So Congress actually said, we don't want that. They passed a law that directed the architect of the Capitol to inscribe the national motto of all things in the Capitol Visitor Center. There was a lawsuit brought very similar to this one challenging the inscription of that motto. We intervened on behalf of, I think it was 70 members of Congress. And, Jay, if you walk through the front doors of that visitor center today, the first thing you see in 2-foot-tall letters inscribed in stone, the national motto, In God We Trust. We're going to win this one, too.
Yeah, interesting, because Megyn Kelly had Michael on her program probably 3 years ago. Listen to this exchange. It's kind of, I think, illustrative of what's going on.
So why should 95% of the country bow to the 5%, Michael? Why shouldn't those who don't want to say the word under God be removed from the classroom or just stand there silently, as has worked in many school districts across this country?
Because we have a Constitution, and the Constitution says that the majority doesn't get its way in certain areas.
So there you have it. That's kind of his view of it, and I have a different view. I think this is part of who we are, and it's not endorsing a religion. It's just reciting a historical fact that our foundations are based on a Judeo-Christian understanding, in this case, In God We Trust. Looks like we're getting a lot of comments also coming in on Facebook and Periscope as well.
Yeah, this came in from John. He said, you can't take people's beliefs away no matter what anyone does. We will stand up for what people believe in, and we believe in God and trust, and we'll keep on trusting. Another one from Betty who said, I just signed the petition. This country is nothing without In God We Trust.
I'm glad they brought that up.
We're seeing a lot of comments like that.
Yeah, let me say this to everybody watching. We are filing a brief in this case at the district court level. We don't do that all the time, but in this case, we're going to watch how these sometimes go up the chain here. And because of that, I want to make sure you understand that if you sign on to our committee today, you are signing a brief to the district court, part of history. You'll be able to tell your children and grandchildren you defended our national motto in federal court. So go to aclj.org or call us at 1-877-989-2255 and add your voice. I think it's important to do that. aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255.
And it really is by history, because last week it was mentioned, one of the briefs was mentioned in the Supreme Court of the United States during the. So all of your voices were all heard almost by name.
Yeah, in the Supreme Court of the United States last week. It's interesting because a question came up by Justice Ginsburg, and the response from the lawyer for the state of Texas, the Texas Solicitor General, was to refer to our actual brief that we filed in the court. So when you file these briefs, it makes a huge difference. So you can be part of this history on this one as well. Again, aclj.org or 877-989-2255.
Yeah, let's go back to the phone. Let's go to Robert, who's calling from Maryland on line 3. Robert,
Hi, Robert.
You're on the air.
Yes, hi. How you doing, Jay and Logan? Yeah, I just wanted to say that I definitely believe that religious freedom is a very important freedom that we need to defend, and that it's definitely under a major assault in a big way worldwide, especially with the prospect of the Islamic State that has murdered so many Christians in the Middle East, particularly in Syria and Iraq, but also it's under assault in the United States of America. I was just thinking that if the religious freedom isn't defended, all other freedoms that we have in the Constitution, particularly in the Bill of Rights, are going to be under assault, because the First Amendment, the first clause says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. That's the first clause in the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights, and all the other Bill of Rights will also come under assault as well.
Yeah, it's another interesting aspect of that, Robert, and that is, if you look at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that all of the countries in the United Nations, which means all the Muslim countries, also have religious freedom rights. And this issue of fundamental religious freedom that you're talking about, that you bring up, is a very good point. Not only affects us domestically, but it affects us internationally. And Than, you've worked hard on and we've been successful because they haven't been able to pass these defamation of religion statutes where they try to squelch the proclamation of the gospel, for instance, as it comes to countries in the Middle East, or even carrying a Bible for that matter.
One of the challenges we've had here domestically was actually in Robert's backyard, the Bladensburg Cross. But then internationally, Jay, one of the reasons that we engage those issues is that internationally, when the challenges are more significant, they're not just a challenge against a memorial or an inscription on a coin. They are challenges against people's ability to actually live out their faith. So if the United States position is correct, it gives us much greater authority when we go to the United Nations to make that case. So it's sort of a trickle-down effect. You have to fight them here so that you can fight the more serious ones overseas.
We've got a case right now where we're defending the city of Ocala, Florida, against a bogus lawsuit filed by an atheist organization challenging a community-wide prayer vigil. We've had those before. A decisive victory for the War Memorial Statue of Jesus. That case has finally been resolved at the Ninth Circuit. We were successful in helping defend that, and I need to say that it was not taken up to the Supreme Court. So that case is over, and that has ended as a success. So as Robert said, we're going to continue to defend religious liberty. That's what we do. And boy, it's very encouraging for me watching the comments just flying in here on Facebook. I get to see the ones on Facebook, Logan, and people are really encouraged about this. And this is, again, kind of taking a break from politics today to talk about some of the cases.
Yeah, but we have a lot of those comments. A lot of people are saying this just isn't about Christianity. It's about just belief in general. This one came from Linda. This said, I've had Jehovah's Witnesses in my class against the teachers. I never made them participate in things they couldn't, but they always stood up respectively with the other students if necessary, if they chose to, and recited the Pledge of Allegiance. That's just, you don't ever force anything on these kids and these people. It's there. It's an option. So there's also... there's a lot of funny comments coming in, but a lot of "In God We Trust" is who we are. This country is nothing without "In God We Trust."
It's encouraging. People understand this. And again, aclj.org or 877-989-2255. Now, I'm hitting a lot of cases today. Sergeant Martlin. That's the sergeant first class that's being thrown out of the Army because he stopped a perpetrator of the practice of bakibazi, which is the abuse of these young boys in Afghanistan. Gregor Popunik from our European Center for Law and Justice was at the United Nations yesterday intervening with not just legal briefs, but oral arguments at the UN, Human Rights Council, on this very issue. So front and center again, fighting this out at the UN, and fighting it out here in Washington, D.C. Than, what is the latest? Because we just sent out an email. The Army's asked for a 60-day extension. We're taking that as a good sign.
It is a good sign. It's been pushed back a couple of times now, which means our argument is sticking. The latest deadline is May 1st, but we're not waiting for that either, Jay. We are supporting Congressman Duncan Hunter's legislation that would actually fix this underlying problem so we don't have another situation like Sergeant Martlin's down the road.
All right, we're going to be taking more of your calls when we come back from the break. For those of you on the line, hang on the line, and we're going to get to you when we come back from the break. We've got a couple of opposing calls. We want to take those as well, so everybody hold tight. If you want to sign the brief, easy way to do it, aclj.org. That's the easiest way, aclj.org, or 1-877-989-2255. So you can really do it either way, aclj.org or 877-989-2255. And I encourage you to do that today. We want to get as many people on this brief as we can. We're just getting the process started. 1-877-989-2255 to sign that brief, or aclj.org, standing for the national motto, "In God We Trust." aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255. Back with more in a moment.
It is happening again. Once again, atheists are targeting our national motto, "In God We Trust." This time, though, they're going after the U.S. Treasury and have gone to federal court to remove our national motto from U.S. currency. We have defeated these flawed lawsuits targeting our national motto in the past, and now we're mobilizing to do it again. You can stand with the ACLJ and add your name to our committee to defend our national motto. We couldn't defend our national motto without your support, so sign on to our committee now and consider supporting the ACLJ during our matching challenge. Right now, every gift is doubled. $20 becomes $40. A $100 gift becomes $200. Stand with the ACLJ today. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255 or online aclj.org.
Michael Newdow was the person who brought the case, an atheist from California whose young daughter went to the Elk Grove Public School District. When teachers who are public employees lead the students in the Pledge of Allegiance, that is an action by the government. They're government employees, and that is telling young people that God exists. And therefore, it's unconstitutional for them to do that. They're, in a sense, it's government endorsement of religion.
I'm Jay Sekulow, S-E-K-U-L-O-W, Chief Counsel of the American Center for Law and Justice. I represent in this case 70 members of the House and Senate, as well as 260,000 citizens from all 50 states. One thing I think became very clear today by the Supreme Court, and I think probably unanimously, and that is the Pledge of Allegiance is a reflection of the religious heritage of America.
Isn't a prayer different than the words "under God" in the pledge? What is the nub of your objection?
Well, it says no law respecting an establishment of religion.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything about prayer. It just says that it's not supposed to be in the religion business, and I think it's hard to argue that the two words "under God" are not religious.
The Pledge of Allegiance reference to God reflects an historical truth that our founding fathers believed, that rights, liberty, and freedom derive from God to mankind rather than simply from government.
So this is not the first time the national motto or the Pledge of Allegiance has been under attack. In fact, if we go back to a case starting in 2006, we had similar challenges by Michael Newdow to the pledge and also under our national motto. We won both at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. By the way, the Ninth Circuit is the most liberal court. So the courts have not been hospitable to these kind of attacks. It was interesting. Justice O'Connor famously said in the Newdow case involving the Pledge of Allegiance, and she said it would be ironic indeed if a nation founded by religious refugees would sever the ties that bind it to that heritage and are a cohesive unit of that even today. So there's this acknowledgement of our Judeo-Christian heritage in our nation's founding. And these groups, Jordan, I want to go to Jordan on the kind of the legal side, and then on the political side, these groups try to get rid of it. I mean, they're offended that those statements exist.
Yeah, that's right. And so with this, it's similar to the Pledge of Allegiance with one nation and the under God, a similar kind of challenge to the fact that we have "in God we trust" on our currency. And even though they lose, they continue to fight these out in court, and they call this an affront to who they are. It's that continued attack on our Judeo-Christian heritage. I think they honestly believe that they keep this going. They keep it going. It may not be today, but if people keep moving left, and as we heard some of our callers kind of say, well, hey, you know what, maybe our country, our Christian values have gone out the window anyways, that kind of thinking gets more pervasive, then they ultimately could carry the day, not just in a district court possibly, or maybe even a court of appeals, but all the way to the Supreme Court. So far, they haven't been able to.
And then in Congress, there has been these attempts on when Congress has recognized it, but those have fallen flat as well.
They've been beaten in court. I mean, but I think the temptation politically even, Jay, is what Jordan just talked about, that there's the temptation that they're so ridiculous, they're so outlandish that we're just going to ignore them. They'll go away, and we don't want to be the ones talking about it. But, occasionally they do win. I mean, the National
they'll find
Day
a
of Prayer,
district court judge that'll go with them. You're right.
That's why you have to engage. So when they win, you take it up a level and you ultimately beat them, but you have to set the precedent so that they can't wear us down, just like Jordan's talking about.
And that's why even in this case, we're going to follow at the district court level. Normally, we wait till the Court of Appeals. Here, we're going to follow at the district court level. You think we'll get any congressional support for that, or is it usually Court of Appeals? Dan? They're
already engaged on it. The question will be whether or not they think this is the proper place to engage. We're talking to them about it.
Yeah, so we're going to file regardless. ACLJ.org or 877-989-2255 to sign that brief. And don't forget, we're in a matching challenge campaign, folks, at aclj.org. Let's go right to the phones.
All right, let's go ahead. Go to Kathy in Arizona.
Hey,
You're
Kathy.
on the air.
First of all, I want to commend you for taking a stand against this Newdow guy who's trying to get rid of the "In God We Trust."
I mean, I take a stand against him in court, but as I said, I want you to know we're friends. I mean, he and I don't agree on this, but personally we're friends. But we do challenge him in court. Yep.
Right. Well, and then the other thing is, there's two things. One thing is, if he were to win this, that sets a very dangerous legal precedent. It gives these anti-God people all the ammunition they need to.
Well, this is exactly why, Kathy, we don't, even at the district court level, Jordan, we don't take these for granted. We file at the district court level because you just never know.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you don't know if you find a district court judge that may be, to the left, and then a court of appeals. Ultimately, you want to make sure that you're ready to step in immediately and be able to stop this early on. The earlier, the better, because it's a bigger loss. The further this goes up in court, the more justified, the more reasonable their kind of lawsuit and challenge becomes. And that's why the sooner you beat them, the better. Deanna's calling from Bowling Green, Kentucky. You're on the air.
Hi, Dan. You've been holding a long time. I'm going to send you a book. Go ahead.
God bless you for being there. I appreciate your show. I'm a retired civics teacher.
Great.
And I have two comments. First, to the gentleman who was talking about our Constitution and separation of church and state.
Right.
I've got $100 bill in my hand to give him or any of your listeners who will show me the words separation of church and state in our U.S. Constitution.
And, of course,
I've been holding
it doesn't
on to
exist.
those $100 bills for a long time.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. And in the former Soviet Union Constitution, they referenced the separation of church and state when it was the Soviet Union, but not in the U.S. Constitution. So, Deanna, I think you're safe with keeping your money there in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Thanks for calling in. We really appreciate it. We've got people that have been holding. We're going to get – and then you got more comments coming in too, Logan, whatever you need to take.
Yeah, let's go ahead and at least get one more call in. Let's go to Ann, who's calling from Houston. You're on the air, Ann, line 3.
Hi, Ann.
Hi, how are you,
Good.
Jay? Thanks for everything you do. I was making a comment rather like the caller just before me who talked about this is not in our Constitution or our Bill of Rights, and people believe it. And it's because no one stands up and says, I'm sorry, but this isn't in the Constitution.
Well, but Deanna, the good news is people are standing up and speaking out. And I could give you a case after case, and I appreciate your call. And you're right, people need to be encouraged to speak out. But the reality is people are speaking out. Jordan, I think about the cross at Ground Zero and that lawsuit that went on. We intervened in that one too. But there was a groundswell. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people joined with us. And Deanna, by the way, that's another reason to sign on to these briefs, because when you start filing these briefs and you're representing 200,000 people, it makes a difference. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, that's why it's important that we take it seriously. It's easy to look at these groups, I mean, to hear kind of the Michael Newdows and the way that they kind of do their automatic repetitions and their rhymes and their rhythms and the songs from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, and kind of shrug your shoulders and say, okay, these people just don't like religious people. They don't like Christianity. They've got some personal issue with it. But take it seriously. We need to keep winning these in court clearly. Yep. We want to make sure it's not and remember that some of these have gotten to the point of 5-4 on standing.
Sure.
We need to be making sure that it's a clear message to our members of Congress that we are willing to fight on this, that we want to continue to fight on this. Because I think this is what the atheists are keying up on, is that ultimately not enough of you will care. And that if not enough of you care, it's something that we keep saying, well, we could kind of forget that heritage of our country.
Let me play for you the exchange that actually took place. That you think these briefs make a difference. Let me play for you the exchange that took place between Justice Ginsburg and the Texas Solicitor General on the abortion case, where our brief actually is referenced. I mean, referenced at a Supreme Court oral argument.
So what was the problem that the legislature was responding to, that it needed to improve the facilities for a woman's health?
In Petitioner's first lawsuit, Planned Parenthood admitted that over 210 women annually are hospitalized because of abortion complications. Here, JA-266...
As compared to childbirth, much riskier procedure, is it not?
Well, the American Center for Law and Justice and former abortion providers' amicus briefs dispute that. But regardless, there is evidence...
Is there really any dispute that childbirth is a much riskier procedure than an early-stage abortion?
Justice Ginsburg, those amicus briefs point out that when you look at record linkage statistic instead of complication reporting, there may be a difference. And the reason why reporting is important is there's evidence in the record here that abortion complications are underreported. That's at JA 844 and 870 to 72.
There you have it. So the briefs there's a perfect example of why an amicus brief to the Supreme Court can answer a question, and he referenced it and then came back to the point of it in his question. That was a good job by the Texas Solicitor General in a case that is probably 4-4 tie, which means we will win, but it won't have the precedential value that I would like to have seen.
This is from Frida, who just said, God is God, no matter who acknowledges it.
Yep.
And then we have a quote from Aaron Allen, just put a quote in from Ronald Reagan. He said, if America ever ceases to be a nation under God, it will be a nation gone under. So don't know. I can't verify that quote, but he put it up there. So there you go. And a lot of people putting their comments and questions in to debate the name of God itself is blasphemy, very disrespectful. Landon, line 6 from Springfield, Missouri.
Hey, Landon.
Hey, how you doing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you believe even if a true Christian conservative, example Ted Cruz, I wouldn't say Donald Trump at all, is elected president, do you think our country could fully restore religious liberties and return to at least an extent a Christian nation? Or do you believe the country's pushed too far away from having anything to do with God and politics?
No, I don't think we should say all is lost and we're all doomed here. I don't buy that. I think the reality is that you look at these challenges as our national motto, and they're annoying, but we can handle them. But they're annoying. I'm not going to say they're not annoying, but we handle them. Look, I think a president can set an agenda. I think Jordan and Than would agree with me on this. A president can set an agenda that includes protection of religious liberty as part of what they do. And that's when you're looking at candidates. It's one of the things, Jordan and Than, we should be looking at.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that ultimately what you need to do is look at what are the specifics. How are these candidates going to actually handle the problems faced? I hope that's what I see tonight at the GOP debate is now that the stage is smaller and it doesn't look like the personal attacks are the same as they were maybe in the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
Let's get to the specifics and let's get to some items that need to be addressed. We've all seen plenty of debates. Let's be honest about that.
Yeah.
But let's get into a little bit deeper into what you'd actually do on these issues.
All right, as we've been talking about on the broadcast, folks, the fact of the matter is even at the district court level, you need to engage these issues. And the reason is you never know. And there have been district court judges that have ruled the wrong way, and then we're taking it up on an appeal. So we're taking this seriously, and we're confident that we will win. Your voice with us will make a big difference. You heard in the broadcast our Supreme Court brief come up at oral argument. And I will tell you, it makes a big difference. So sign that brief today, aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255. That's aclj.org or 877-989-2255, defending our national motto, In God We Trust. aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255.
It is happening again. Once again, atheists are targeting our national motto, In God We Trust. This time, though, they're going after the U.S. Treasury and have gone to federal court to remove our national motto from U.S. currency. We have defeated these flawed lawsuits targeting our national motto in the past, and now we're mobilizing to do it again. You can stand with the ACLJ and add your name to our committee to defend our national motto. We couldn't defend our national motto without your support, so sign on to our committee now and consider supporting the ACLJ during our matching challenge. Right now, every gift is doubled. $20 becomes $40. A $100 gift becomes $200. Stand with the ACLJ today. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255 or online aclj.org.